It was a quiet afternoon, and Abigail, the adventurous little miniature pincher, had just curled up in her favorite cozy spot next to Kai. The sunlight streaming through the window warmed her fur, and soon, her eyes began to close. Within moments, Abigail drifted into a peaceful sleep, her tiny paws twitching as she slipped into a world of dreams. But this wasn't just any ordinary dream. No, in this dream, Abigail was on a grand adventure. She wasn't just a small dog anymore, she was fast, agile, and on the trail of something truly exciting, a squirrel. In her dream, Abigail found herself in a beautiful, vast forest. The trees were tall and towering, their leaves creating a dappled pattern of sunlight on the forest floor. Abigail could smell the fresh, earthy scent of pine and hear the rustling of leaves as a gentle breeze swept through the trees. Birds chirped happily in the distance, but Abigail's attention was focused elsewhere. Her nose twitched, and her ears perked up. Then, suddenly, she saw it, a squirrel, darting from one tree to the next, its fluffy tail twitching in the air. It was quick, nimble, and darted about as if it were playing a game. Abigail's heart raced with excitement. She'd never seen a squirrel up close before, and in this dream, she knew she had to catch it. With a burst of energy, Abigail took off, her little legs moving faster than they ever had in real life. She darted across the soft forest floor, her eyes locked onto the squirrel as it scampered ahead. The chase was on. The squirrel zigzagged between trees, leaping over fallen branches and scurrying up tree trunks, but Abigail was right behind it. She weaved through the trees with incredible speed, her paws barely touching the ground as she flew after the squirrel. Every time the squirrel made a quick turn, Abigail was there, matching its every move. The forest was full of obstacles, rocks, roots, and bushes, but none of that could stop Abigail. She leaped over logs, slid under low-hanging branches, and dodged between tree trunks with the agility of a professional athlete. Her sharp senses guided her, and the thrill of the chase made her feel unstoppable. The squirrel, realizing it had a determined pursuer, darted up a nearby tree and paused on a low branch, looking down at Abigail. It twitched its tail as if to say, "You can't catch me." Abigail stopped at the base of the tree, barking up at the squirrel with excitement. She bounced on her paws, eager to continue the chase. The squirrel, feeling bold, hopped from one branch to another, taunting Abigail. But Abigail wasn't discouraged. She knew this was all part of the adventure. Suddenly, the squirrel made a daring leap from the tree to the ground and took off again, racing toward a bubbling river that wound through the forest. Abigail didn't hesitate, she bolted after it, her paws pounding the ground as she closed the distance between them. When they reached the riverbank, the squirrel leaped onto a large rock and bounded across to the other side, hopping from stone to stone with ease. Abigail, filled with determination, didn't miss a beat. She followed, her paws splashing through the shallow water as she jumped from one rock to the next, keeping the squirrel in her sights. The cool water felt refreshing against her paws, but Abigail didn't stop to enjoy it. She was too focused on her mission. She was faster and braver than ever in this dream world, and nothing could slow her down. As they reached the opposite bank, the chase continued through a meadow filled with colorful wildflowers. Abigail could feel the soft petals brushing against her fur as she ran, the scent of the flowers filling the air. It was as if the entire forest had come alive just for this adventure. As the chase went on, the squirrel suddenly darted into the entrance of a large, mysterious cave. Abigail skidded to a halt at the mouth of the cave, her nose twitching as she sniffed the cool, damp air. The cave was dark and deep, and strange sounds echoed from within, but Abigail wasn't afraid. In this dream, she was a brave explorer, and no cave could stand between her and her goal. She took a deep breath and plunged into the darkness, her paws tapping softly on the rocky ground as she navigated the twisting tunnels. The squirrel's fluffy tail disappeared around a corner, and Abigail followed, her senses heightened in the dim light. The walls of the cave glittered with crystals, casting a faint glow that helped guide her way. The sound of dripping water echoed around her as she chased the squirrel deeper into the cave. Her heart raced with excitement. What other wonders might she discover in this mysterious place? The squirrel seemed to know its way through the maze of tunnels, but Abigail was right behind it, determined to see this adventure through to the end. Suddenly, the cave opened up into a large underground cavern, and to Abigail's surprise, the squirrel wasn't alone. Standing in the middle of the cavern was a group of squirrels, all chattering and twitching their tails as if they had been expecting her. Abigail stopped in her tracks, her eyes wide as she realized she was now surrounded by a whole team of squirrels. The leader of the squirrels, the one she had been chasing, hopped onto a rock and stood tall, looking down at Abigail with a twinkle in its eye. It wasn't afraid or upset about the chase. Instead, it seemed to be inviting Abigail to play. The other squirrels joined